Hello, this is a follow-up video on this Richard Lipp grand piano made in 1907 in rosewood, and is 5'9" long, approximately 176 centimeters. We've done technical work on it, which was highlighted from the first video, work that needed doing. That's all been finished. But something which we didn't mention on the first video is that we actually restrung the piano, because there was a client who was interested in it and wanted it restrung, so it was customized for him, and he ended up buying a much longer Bösendorfer in the end. But so we have this customized Richard Lipp, which we have restrung, and just show you that. So as mentioned on the last videos, we try and retain Lipp bass strings very often if they're in very good condition and no strings are broken and the tuning pins are tight. But this client did want it done, so we're always worried about getting as good a tone as the original. So if you listen to the other one, perhaps probably can't tell on the video, but those two notes we were highlighting, we turned them to see if we could get a really good tone, and now we've replaced them, and I think we've managed to match them faithfully. Of course, they're new strings, so as we mentioned before, though, copying faithfully, Lipp's such a high quality manufacturer, so copying faithfully their bass strings is something we do with some trepidation, but they're German strings, and I think really I've managed to get a nice rich sound, as you expect from a Lipp, which is pretty unsurpassed in terms of tone of this size of Lipp piano. So I mentioned I had one in my house for about 8 years, almost the same. And the treble strings have been replaced too. The soundboard's been shimmed, as you would do if we take the whole thing apart. We always end up shimming. You see the lighter parts where the soundboard had slight openings, which you always get on soundboards, and when you take the frame off, it tends to show them up even more. So that's been done. It doesn't, as I mentioned many times before, it doesn't really affect the tone, but it's cosmetic, and we like to do that work, as I think most restrings do that as well. So tuning pins very tight, that's obviously important. They're new tuning pins now. And one other aspect I want to show you, not to make this video very long because we've made a lot of comments on the last one. As we showed on the last video, it's very light touch, and the Lipp I had in my house was also very light touch. It seems to be characteristic that Lipps do go very light, and it's the client wanted it to be light, so that's why he chose it. Actually, he has had a problem in his hands and wanted a light touch. Now we've had to customize the Bösendorfer that he's had, but you can see these are going down with 32 grams quite happily, so that's extremely light. 50 grams is normal, and so if you want a light touch, I mentioned also there's a concert pianist that we have come over, wants a heavy touch piano when he arrives, because his piano in the USA is a light touch piano. He comes over every summer, has done for about 30 years I think, which is an amazingly long time. He is from Oxford originally. Anyway, what I'm trying to make the point of there is that a light touch is often preferable. You can play fast passages on it, whether the sharps are light as well. So I'll just show you what the tone of the piano is like. So that's a follow-up video, just to show that we've restrung and repinned and done the frame and the soundboard as well on this Richard Lipp piano. Now it has a very light touch. If you are wanting to play very fluid passages, it's very pleasant for fluid passage. Of course, old pianos, very old pianos, did have a light touch, and the touches tend to increase over the years, and modern pianos have 50 grams normally. But it is so easy to play. So very fluid. And the tone is really unsurpassed. Lipp's is, if you're in the trade, and I think you'll probably agree with me, certainly comment and say what you think about Richard Lipp. But they're very much a technician's favourite. And we've managed to get the bass, I think, as good as it was, if not better than it was before. Certainly the strings were going dull and we were going to turn them, but we've replaced them now. And I think they're a very pleasant sound. For the length of the piano, there isn't much better bass really. Comparable with Blüthner's, and Blüthner's are renowned for a very, very good bass. So if you want an excellent tone piano, then this is a good choice. Now, we haven't refinished the casework. I mentioned that in the last video. All it needs now is French polish. So the piano is not expensive for all the work we've done and for the quality of the piano. Very, very stable, by the way. So certainly can French polish. It's 70 hours work, so adds a lot to the price. But if you want a very good piano economically and you want a light tone, then a light touch, sorry, then this is an ideal piano. We can, of course, make the touch heavier. It's not a problem. But just reverse the, just to put extra weight in the back of the keys, and that will be fine. Thank you very much for listening.